One of my very favorite movies ever. I have it on DVD, but I don't have it on Blu-ray, so.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cinebums. Producer Jake is back. I've been killing the episodes so far, man. I've been doing them every other week, which I'm very proud to do. And this week, I have two of my favorite guests returning. We got Brendan, who was on for the Underrated Horror Gems episodes. You guys love that episode. I did too. And of course, we got Carlos from the Misfit Pond collab. Guys, welcome back to the Cinebums, man. Thank you guys for coming back.
Thanks for having me, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. Yeah, Carlos, I got to thank you right up top because our episode, the fact that you posted it on your channel, it bumped our subscriber count and also our Spotify and Apple Podcast accounts up by quite a bit. Yeah, man. You guys, you have a strong army over there at the Misfit Pod, man. They showed their loves. A few of them commented on the video. It was really nice to see because I'm a fan of your videos, so it was great to have that have that come full circle. So yeah, man. Thanks for coming back.
Oh, dude, it's my pleasure. I couldn't be happier that my channel helped yours out in some way. I was worried that it wouldn't. I was worried my tiny channel ain't gonna do shit for you, but I'm glad I did something. So that's awesome.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And last time we talked, we kind of left it open-ended about your horror film festival. I know you touched on that. So I've been dying to know actually too, do you want to recap that real quick? How did that go?
Yeah, man, it actually happened.
Yeah.
It actually happened. I talked about it for a while, and for a little bit, I was getting a little worried because, I had a handful of people submit, but nearing the deadline, I was like, I don't know if this is actually going to be enough to hold an event. But luckily, really near the deadline, I had a nice handful of more people submit, and it made it to where I had at least an hour plus worth of time for the event. So it all worked out and I had a blast and everybody else seemed to have a blast. So it was cool, showcasing short films from aspiring filmmakers from pretty much all around the world. We had a submission from Sweden. We had a submission from South Africa. We had two submissions from the UK. So, it was a lot of fun, dude. I think it went well.
Yeah. And you gave out prizes, right? For best director, sort of best film and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, we did one for Best Picture, and then we did Best Director, Best Cinematography, and then Best Editing.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool that you can create a platform like that. Because what we talked about a lot during the first podcast was that you like to just find other voices in the filmmaking community and sort of connect with them. And doing a film festival is I can't think of anything else that could be more inclusive of other people's creativity. So that's really dope. And you had your own film too. Do you want to talk about your own short that you did?
Yeah, before I get to that, I do want to give a shout out to my longtime good friend, Stephen Watkins, because it was actually his idea to really launch this film festival thing. So he was the one that ultimately pushed me to be dude, you have to do this thing. It sounds like a lot of fun. Seems like a great idea. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, let me go ahead and do it. So big shout out to Stephen Watkins for that. But yeah, I also, since I was hosting this thing, I was like, well, it'd be really cool if I also made my own horror short and showcase it on the film festival as well. Not part of the programming. There was a good amount of debate in my head. I was like, should I just squeeze it somewhere in the programming? Obviously not to be in any contention for awards, but just to kind of put it in there at some point.
Yeah.
But I also didn't want to showcase it at the end because I was like, I don't want to come off narcissistic and be oh, this is the grand finale of the event. Yeah. I don't want to do that either. So that's why I during the event, I told people if you want to stay for it, that's cool. I already gave out the awards and everything. So it's totally optional if you want to stay for it. So that's really the only way I kind of thought about doing it. But yeah, I made my own little short. It's called Solita. So if you it's in Spanish, but it has English subtitles, so you don't have to know Spanish to watch it and hopefully enjoy it. But it's up there on the channel. I'm probably going to take it down within the next 2 weeks, just because I'm going to be submitting it to film festivals, and some film festivals won't take it if it's publicly available online. But yeah, that'd be awesome if I got more people to check it out and share some honest feedback with me. This is my fourth official short film. I have them all in a playlist. So if y'all want to check all of them out, please do as well. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll throw your short playlist in the link to our video right there so people can check out your shorts, obviously. But do you think you're going to do this again in the future? Because I think it's a cool idea that like just someone who's like on the path to becoming a full-time feature director is hosting a film festival because you've created your own community. Like if you do more, I think that'd be dope. Do you think you're gonna do more?
Yeah, I mean, especially after how well it went, like this time around, like I definitely see myself doing this a lot. Like even if I go on, like I mean, fingers crossed, I actually am able to make a career out of filmmaking. I would try my best to kind of make this happen because I think the more exposure that I would have it like for my channel and who I am, like that would make the film festivals even better because then more people would get to see them. So like
Yeah,
even if I'm off doing my own thing, I would definitely try my best. Depending on how busy I actually am, I would try to make this thing happen every year. I think it would be dope.
absolutely. And yeah, if you do more, come back on and promote them, man. We'll always have you back to promote those. So yeah, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, check out. I promoted him again, but check out the Misfit Pond on YouTube. And he makes great analysis videos, Criterion hauls, which is going to segue great into our conversation today.
Hell yeah,
Um,
dude.
yeah. So Brendan and I went today to pick up some Criterions, and Brendan, since you haven't gotten a word in yet, do you want to talk about the first Criterion you picked up today?
Yeah, sure. I might as well. So this is one that I've really wanted for a while, at least for the last year. I love Les Samurai, so I have
You
to
can't-
pick up. Oh,
You're keying out.
I think I'm gonna have to. Let me go change that quickly.
All right. Technical
There we go.
difficulties, folks.
Yeah.
There we go.
I had to pick up Les Cercles Rouge.
Jean-Pierre
Oh, nice.
Melville.
I want to get more into Melville. I love Les Samurai. It was a movie I watched maybe 2 years ago. It always kind of stuck with me. So I really want to check this one out. And it just came out in 4K. The original Blu-ray I know was really hard to find. So I just thought, now's the time to finally buy it.
Oh shit! So it was a blind
Finally
buy.
watch it. Yeah, blind buy.
Oh shit!
I'm weird like that, Carlos, in which I blind
No,
buy
it's
a
cool.
lot of my Criterions.
My cousin Eric's the
but
same
yeah.
way. Like if like the last Criterion Hall video I put out, everything he bought was basically a blind buy. So I understand.
I noticed that about him, yeah. And some people only buy, stuff that they've seen before. But yeah, sometimes I do the blind buys. I don't know. I kind of mix it up.
I used to blind buy sometimes because there was a period of time where I hadn't watched like as many Criterion films as I had now that like I was like, oh, I have to buy this movie. So like I kind of had some room to blind buy, but lately I feel like I haven't had any room to blind buy because there's too many films that I just like deeply love that like I have to buy this. That would just feel wrong for me to put that must buy down to get a blind buy. But I mean, trust me, I understand the joy and the just how exhilarating it is just to get a blind buy and take a shot in the dark sometimes.
Exactly. There's something special about finding a movie and then playing it for that first time and then finishing it and being like, wow, how did I not see this before?
Absolutely.
I think that's where it comes from for me. It's almost like you remember those like mystery like gift bags you used to get as a kid or something?
Yeah.
Or you don't know what's coming after, but you're gonna take the risk.
Easter
eggs. That's kind of the blind buy Criterion for me. There's a metaphor for everyone.
Yeah, or on the flip side, you could blind buy something and then be deeply disappointed.
Dude.
That's happened to me, and then I sell it on eBay or something.
There you go.
Yeah. Speaking of blind buys, the one I picked up today is 24 Frames by Abbas Kiarostami.
Oh, Kiarostami, dude.
Which,
hell yeah.
Like we were saying about taking a chance, but like this isn't really a chance because I've pretty much loved or at least appreciated every Kiarostami film I've seen. I know, Carlos, you're huge on Kiarostami's. Like your video on Certified Copy was really, really great, and that really even heightened my love for him. And yeah, this was like pretty much the last mainstream. I know he has like a lot of early work that you can find on the Criterion channel and stuff, but this is obviously the last film that he directed before he passed away, sadly. And I'm not too sure about the narrative of this film. I know it's a lot of like still images sort of morphed together, in attempts to create a narrative film out of it. So
yeah, I heard it's like more abstract.
Yeah. And for Kiarostami, that's saying a lot, right? Because he's a very abstract filmmaker and a really, interpretive, really trusts his audience filmmaker, and that's why I love him. And I'm really, really excited to check this out. Maybe what this movie is like. I feel like one Sunday morning, I'm just gonna brew some green tea and just watch this and zone out and relax to it.
That's a vibe, dude.
That's a vibe, dude.
That's an amazing idea.
Even the cover just looks very zen and very moody. So, and this is the last Kiarostami I haven't seen out of like the like I said, like his more mainstream fare that you could buy on Criterion. So I'm excited to check this one out, man. And Kiarostami, like we talked about him a lot last time. He's one of my favorites. So I'm glad I took a shot in the dark. Shout out to Eric. Shout out to Eric. Blind by King.
Have you seen Like Someone in Love?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that film.
I love that movie too, dude.
It is
so good.
It is so beautiful. Yeah, and that was one. In your new video, you saw Certified Copy. I almost like messaged you. I'm like, dude, can you pick that up for me because it's so rare. I can't find it at any Barnes and Noble in LA. And same goes for like Someone in Love. And I always see you guys pick it up. I'm like, what the hell?
Shit, dude, I'll tell you what. Like, if I find it in the next haul, I'll get it for you, and I'll mail it to you, and you could just like whatever, send me the funds, whatever, PayPal or whatever, and that's it.
Sure, man. Just getting a Criterion from you in general would be great. So let's do that.
Dude, you want me to sign it for you? I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Someone picks up my copy of Look Someone in Love. Like, oh shit, did you get Kiarostami? I'm like, no, man. Misfit Pond.
It's the Misfit Pond guy.
No, thank you. Yeah, that'd be great. Those are rare to find. And I think Certified Copy might be my favorite Kiarostami. I don't know about you.
It's my favorite Kiarostami.
Yes. It is an absolute masterpiece. Yeah. Yeah, Brennan, what was the other one you got?
Yeah, the other one I got was In the Heat of the Night. Another blind buy, but I really love Sidney Poitier. And the reason I picked this up, I told Jake, is one of my favorite filmmakers is Hal Ashby. And this is how he got his filmmaking start. One of my favorite movie of all time is Harold and Maude, which is also in the Criterion Collection, of course.
Yeah.
But this is really how he got his start in the business, was editing this movie. So I've always been really intrigued about it, not only from the plot, but also to see how he kind of found his footing in the filmmaking industry.
So
In the Heat of the Night.
So he didn't like direct it. He just did the film editing.
No, Norman Jewison directed it.
Okay.
And then Hal Ashby's first movie was a couple years after. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
Interesting. Cool.
That film is really highly regarded, especially in the American film canon. Like that movie really pushed the boundaries in terms of like race relations in film. I heard like really inspired like Spike Lee and all these contemporary directors. So yeah, that's supposedly amazing. So I think that's a really good blind buy. Kind of drastically changing tone here. My next pickup is a movie I love by Mr. John Waters, Pink Flamingos.
Dude.
Look how beautiful that artwork
Amazing.
is. I didn't know when you opened it
Wow.
up that you had this amazing cover of Divine there.
That's awesome.
I adore this movie. I don't care what anyone says. I think John Waters is one of the premier directors of the 70s. No joke. I think he promoted independent filmmaking to a new height. He has such a unique voice, hysterical movies. Divine is spectacular in all of his films. Brendan, I know you haven't seen any of the Divine John Waters movies, but like Carlos, have you seen any
Dude.
like Multiple Maniacs or Polyester, any of those?
Okay, I've seen Pink Flamingos, I've seen Female Trouble, and I've seen Polyester.
Hell yeah.
I haven't seen Multiple Maniacs yet, but
It's so good. It's so good.
Female Trouble was my first John Waters experience, and holy shit, that is still my favorite John Waters film to date. And I feel like it doesn't get enough praise because like everybody talks about Pink Flamingos all
Absolutely.
the time, which it should. I mean, Pink Flamingos, there's a reason why people talk about it all the time. It pushed the boundaries of what you could even show in a fucking movie, and it's like so absurd and hilarious. But
Right.
like Female Trouble to me is one of the most hilarious films I've ever seen in my entire life. And it's still like
Yeah.
absurd and boundary pushing. It's not as boundary pushing as like Pink Flamingos, but
Sure.
it's still got that, boundary pushing John Waters touch to it. And it's
Mhm.
it's amazing. I love Female Trouble. Pink Flamingos is obviously amazing. And Polyester I saw maybe like 2 or 3 months ago. and it's really
Mhm.
good. It's
good.
it's a more like well produced John Waters film. Still has that like John Waters shtick to it that everybody loves. That kind of like meta, like sarcastic, self aware kind of
Mhm.
shtick. But it's still really good. It's probably my least favorite that I've seen so far, but it's still really good.
Yep, Polyester. Did you watch the Criterion version of Polyester, like on the disc? Do you remember?
No, I did not.
Okay, so my ex-girlfriend who introduced me to John Waters, she had the original DVD copy, and that comes with the Smellorama.
Yeah, the Smellorama. Yeah,
Dude, and that really heightened that experience. Like they
Yeah, I
smell
bet.
like complete dog ass. Like a lot of the smells are. It's so much fun though because it feels like you're in a classic like 4D theater with like smell enhancements and stuff like that. So. Yeah, I love John Waters. And Brendan, you've seen Serial Mom, right? Which a great John Waters movie.
Yeah, I love Serial Mom.
Yeah,
But I need to check out his earlier work now.
It's so good.
Serial Mom is a movie that like I have just been dying to see. Like I
It's so
really want to
fun.
watch Serial Mom. I hear it's great. So
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, man. That's what we picked up today. Carlos, yeah, do you want to quickly do a Carlos haul? What you
Sure.
picked up yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just recently released a haul video yesterday, and these are the movies that I got during that haul. So I got Cure,
yeah.
from Kurosawa. I forgot the first name, but
Kiyoshi Kurosawa.
yeah, there you go,
Yeah.
Kiyoshi Kurosawa. Excellent hypnotic thriller film. That's all I'll say about it.
Mhm.
But thriller horror film. So much personality behind the camera, really riveting
Yeah.
stuff. I really, really enjoyed it. And so I also got Ghost World. This is a movie that
Yeah.
I actually haven't
Good one.
seen before. So technically this is a blind buy.
Ooh, let's go.
Yeah, but I'm blind buying through the patron picks. So like
okay.
I have a
Oh.
patron tier where people pay me like $35 and I'll buy the Criterion and I'll give a video review on it. So,
Oh.
in a way I'm kind of taking a gamble here with this as well. But I mean, everybody that I talk to who watches film really likes it. It has like a young ScarJo performance and
Mhm.
everything. And it is here. It's like a high school movie, right? Am I wrong or?
So they're on the verge. They graduate high school, and it's like the summer between that and them like entering the real life. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
real good, dude. It's real good.
It's an early 2000s, 2001. Okay.
It's got a great like minimalist style. Buscemi is fantastic in it. So
Oh, I love Steve Buscemi. It's funny because on my last haul, I pointed at it and said that's Steve Buscemi, but as a joke. I didn't think that was actually Steve Buscemi.
the
And someone was like,
cartoon
no.
Buscemi, yeah.
And then someone was like, no, that's actually Steve Buscemi. I was like, oh, fuck. All right. All right. And then next I got Sancho the Bailiff.
Oh yes,
Oh.
This is a
masterpiece.
yes, this is an
Masterpiece.
absolute masterpiece, dude. This film is incredible from start to finish. It's beautifully
Mhm.
shot, a lot more brutal than I expected. It's really unforgiving with its content for a film that came out during its time. But like, damn, it's an important film and it's really compelling. Like, has a great character. A lot of the characters are great, but the central character of the film is very compelling and like what he like progresses towards by the end of the film. But yeah, Sancho the Bailiff is really, really great. I highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it yet.
Heartbreaking film too.
Oh yeah,
It's
for
like
sure.
you see a man get stripped away from everything. It's like it's like
Ah.
watching. Have you seen Harakiri? From
Oh yeah, that's
Japan?
another masterpiece.
That's
Yeah.
another Japanese masterpiece where you just
Yep.
feel like so empty afterwards in the best way. So yeah, I love Sancho.
Yeah, Sancho's great. Then I got Drive My Car.
I almost bought that
Oh,
today.
yeah.
I almost
Yeah.
bought it today.
It's so good.
Yeah, this was in the maybe pile, and I had to choose between Lost Highway, Drive My Car, High and Low, and La Piscine.
That's
And
that's tough.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very tough. So I ended up going with Drive My Car because this is a film that like I just think it's absolutely fantastic. Like the only reason why I was like second guessing it is because it's a newer movie, and sometimes I prioritize
Mhm.
like older movies,
Yeah.
over new movies.
Same way. The same way.
But couldn't help it. This is just really, really great. So I had to get it.
Nice.
And then I got Late Spring.
Ooh.
Yeah, Ozu film. I mean, I have a review on this. I review like a lot of these. So I review on Cure and Drive My Car. I don't have one on Sancho the Bailiff, but Late Spring is my second Ozu film. I've seen Good Morning and Late Spring, but Late Spring to me is an absolute masterpiece as well.
Yes.
Just a really compelling, both heartwarming and very heartbreaking, but
Yes.
just absolutely great. And I had to
I
pick it
think-
up. That was a must buy.
That's where Ozu found his perfect medium of tone, because like Good Morning is more playful and silly.
Yeah.
Tokyo Story obviously really melancholic, and that's like a perfect marriage. And I remember Eric in the video, he said there's one of the best shots in the history of cinema is her face talking to her father, where it kind of just holds on her. I can't really describe it too descriptively, but
Yeah.
what Eric said in the video, it's so true. Great shot. So
No, absolutely.
yeah.
And then I also got Daisies, which is a
Oh yeah.
Couldn't
Is
find
that-
it.
this is a Czech film, and I haven't seen it. This is another blind buy, but that's because Lil Souffle gave a patronage for it. He gave me like $35 as a tier, and he's like, "Yeah, watch Daisies and do a video review." I'm like, "All right, hell yeah, I'll do it." So I really don't know. I mean, I heard it's a very like experimental kind of film, like experimental, like fun kind of
Yeah.
avant-garde movie.
Yes.
Rebellious type of film. That's all I've really heard about it. So I don't know. I'm really excited about it. So that's it. But that's it though. That's my haul.
Nice.
That's my final thing.
You'll love Daisies, like very stylistically
It's up my
impressive.
alley, you think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Like tonally, really. Brendan, you've seen it too, right?
Yeah, Daisies is phenomenal.
Awesome.
Nice. Well, boys, good hauls, good hauls. We come to the portion now where we talk about it. What movie have you seen, like, say, in the past 1 or 2 weeks that really blew you away? I'll kick it off. I'll talk about a movie that actually Brendan and I saw together in the theater a few days ago. Newer release by in my opinion, one of the modern masters of cinema. But we're talking about Decision to Leave by Park Chan-wook. Carlos, I don't know if that movie's released to you by now, or if the release has gotten to you guys in Georgia by now, but
I think it is, but it's like playing in one theater in Atlanta. So
okay.
I gotta eventually make time to see it.
Dude, yeah, it's fantastic. I told Brendan after, it's probably towards the top / middle tier of Park Chan-wook. Like, it didn't blow me away like Old Boy or The Handmaiden.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
It's more subtle, it's more lighthearted compared to his other movies, but
Yeah.
the relationship between the cop and sort of the modern femme fatale in this movie are super intriguing, really playful, really hilarious, but also really heartbreaking. Like, I think it's his most mature film, and I've been following Park's career since I really got into film. I saw Old Boy like really early on, like in 2014, like almost a decade ago now, and I was just hooked on his movies. He introduced me to like South Korean cinema. So to see him make a movie like this mature and methodical, and the cinematography, like we were talking about afterwards, Brendan, you could chime in, but like there's these aerial shots in this movie that it almost looks fake. It's so good. Like, it looks like he drew it like in a canvas or something, because it looks so aesthetically pleasing.
Wow.
And I had to see this movie like 2 or 3 more times to fully grasp it. And I'm sure you would agree, because it's like a 2.5 hour multi-layered character study that spans like years of time. So, but my highest recommendations to a lot of people, I'm sure like a lot of film fans who know Park Chan-wook will really resonate with this film. And yeah, Brendan, if you want to add anything, like I had such a blast with this movie. I laughed. I was on the verge of tears, and it's stylistically just so impressive. So yeah, Decision to Leave.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I mean, this is my 4th Park Chan-wook movie, and I think it's his most unique. You know, I can't. I haven't seen everything yet, but I think the way the story is told, from the way it's shot, it's so intricate, and you just love the characters and the journey that they're kind of taking along the way. And it also has one of the best midpoints of this year, in which you think the story is going somewhere, and then it kind of, twists you on its head and says, no, I'll take you a different direction. And I absolutely love the movie from where it took me halfway through and continued on. But yeah, highly recommended. Definitely in my top 10 of the year right now.
Yeah. Carlos, have you seen any Park Chan-wook movies at this point?
Oh, of course, dude. I've seen Old Boy. I've seen The Handmaiden, and I've seen that kind of short film that he has on 3 Extremes. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that film.
Oh,
no.
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so. No.
Yeah, it's a horror film called Three Extremes. It's compiled of like Asian horror cinema, but
Huh.
from like it's like three short films basically. They're all like 40 minutes long,
Oh shit.
around there. And they're all like pretty decent. Actually, I would have to say I forgot what it's called, Park Chan-wook segment, but his segment was actually like my least favorite segment. But it's not bad. But
Okay.
I think that's really it from Park Chan-wook because I haven't seen like the Vengeance movies. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think Old Boy and The Handmaiden is kind of really where it ends for me, but just those two films alone are freaking masterpieces. So
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've been watching a few of these in preparation for Decision to Leave. Like, I know we did an episode on Korean horror a few weeks back, and we covered Thirst, which is a Park Chan-wook movie. Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, I watched about a month ago, and that movie is bleak to say the least, and very, very melancholic, but also masterfully crafted, like all of his films are. Brendan, I know you're a huge fan of Joint Security Area, which is a fantastic film as well. So I think like people talk about Bong Joon-ho, obviously, and I think Park Chan-wook is just at the similar tier. Maybe not as much award recognition like Parasite, but I think I don't know. I always liken him as like the Korean David Fincher. So yeah,
I can
That's
see
a good
that.
comparison. Yeah.
right, and his latest film is no exception. Like it's fantastic. So yeah, anyone got a film they want to shout out?
Oh, okay. So we're talking about recent films. I mean, shit. I might as well go ahead and say it. So I recently saw Banshees, of Inisherin. I think is how you say it.
I think
That
so.
written and directed by Martin McDonough. That movie's incredible. That movie like deeply impacted me. It's a film that I was really excited for. Hey, there it is.
Shout out to Guinness. Shout out to Ireland.
Shout out to Ireland. Yeah.
That film, dude, it's just like Mark McDonough is just a master at blending humor with like dramatic situations. It's like really hard to do that as a filmmaker to try to it's hard to blend, comedy with something that's really like emotionally deep without coming off like tone deaf. And he does it like almost like better than anybody that I could really like recall right now.
Agree. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean that's the case with Banshees, and it's an incredible movie. Like, I mean, I shot a review for it. It's not out yet, but hopefully I can get it out by tomorrow. But it's basically like in general, I just said that film, like in terms of writing, the screenplay, really good all around. The characters are just like, I mean, besides from the two amazing central characters played by Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson, the side
Fantastic.
characters like
Great.
are really great too. Like all the side
Yeah,
characters in the
yeah.
film, like they have a very distinct personality to them, and they have their own like contribution to the themes and the story itself.
Yeah.
And it's just really great stuff all around. Like Mark McDonough is an incredible filmmaker. I mean, I've only seen Three Billboards, In Bruges, and Banshees at this point, but all three of those films I think are pretty much incredible. So
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's in my top 5 of 2022 so far. And I've been a fan of McDonough's for a while. Like In Bruges was one of the movies I always cite as one of the movies that made me want to write and get into, explore subtext and like hidden meanings within a script. Because that movie is very layered and very complex, but also so accessible. I feel like to the general masses, because that movie's
Absolutely.
so funny and relatable. And I feel like Banshees covers that too, because it's really just about two really alienated, lonely men who can't connect with other human beings, and it kind of kickstarts this really, kind of fucked up friendship movie, which I was like aggressively moved by this movie. I don't know how you felt, and I know Brendan felt the same way. Like
I was too.
on a technical level, I think this is McDonough's most accomplished movie, and like writing his most subtle movie. Colin Farrell, Brandon Gleeson, fantastic. So yeah, guy, I know a lot of you guys are going to watch that movie regardless, and I know that it's going to be like a huge Oscar contender too, because McDonough's like in with the Academy now. So
is he really? Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
okay, because of like Three Billboards.
was
Yeah.
nearly won Best Picture. Yeah, and fingers crossed for Colin Farrell this year. He's one of my favorite actors. So
Yeah,
So, yeah,
at
man.
this point, he's one of my favorite actors too, for
he's
sure.
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Brendan's a fellow Irishman here, so he of course loved the Banshees. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, I told Jake. I mean, I don't think there's a movie that will blow me away like that. After I just sat in the cinema I turned to Jake and I said, wow, I didn't have any other words,
Yeah.
but I kind of told Jake it's kind of like a modern Shakespeare tragedy
Yeah.
told through, our current state. I told Jake it's kind of a reflection on, the quarantine,
Yeah.
almost like, I don't know if he wrote this
Interesting.
in
Yeah.
response to it, but, it's very play-like, but also very, very full of these nice visuals.
Cinematic, yeah.
It's very cinematic in that way. So I'm happy he made it a film and he didn't. I mean, because he is a playwright
He's a
originally.
playwright, yeah.
So
Oh, really? I had no idea he was a playwright. That's
one of the
awesome.
most celebrated, yeah, apparently. I haven't seen anything on stage, but people
Mhm.
revere him, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense because this film definitely seems like it could be a play.
Yeah.
exactly.
But I'm glad it's not. I'm glad it didn't just stay as a play, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we can all experience it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not, because I told Jake there was something about that island. You feel part
Yeah.
of the community. You
Yeah.
feel alienated with everyone. You see the war going on out
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
the modern, on the mainland of Ireland. So it was just a captivating movie
Yeah.
that just left me awestruck at the end. Yeah.
Absolutely. And at the end
Same
of the
here,
day, that movie really felt like McDonough exploring just the human need for companionship, and like we can't survive without friendships and people in our lives to prop us up. So to me, it felt like his most genuine movie, even though, of course, it usually concludes with a very violent, semi-nihilistic viewpoint on the world. But I don't know, man. To me, his most enduring film, but also like I laughed a lot during it too. Like there's some hilarious
Yeah.
dialogue and hilarious jokes thrown in too.
Yeah. I mean, it's really tough to think about, man, because like it's hard to decide like what's my favorite McDonough film, because I'm telling you, I really love Three Billboards a lot and I love In Bruges a
Fantastic.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like with just a little bit of time, this could be my favorite McDonough film. I
Agreed.
desperately want to watch it again. Like as soon as I left the theater, I was like, I want to watch that shit again. So,
Yeah, me too. Brendan, yours is Seven Psychopaths, right? Your favorite?
Yeah, that's my favorite McDonough so
Damn,
far.
that's the one I haven't seen yet.
It's really good too. I second that.
It's hilarious. Yeah. But I think the plot is so intricate.
Yeah, that's
But
his
maybe-
most. Yeah,
Banshees is his most mature, so it might actually take the spot after more thought. Yeah.
and Bruges is still my favorite because that, like I said, that movie got me into script writing and sort of that whole route. So
That's a great inspiration to have.
yeah. Little bleak inspiration to have, but why not? Brendan, what have you watched recently that you want to discuss here?
Yeah, the one I watched the other morning, which was a very nice, relaxing kind of movie, but also very meditative, was Hotel by the River by Hong Sang-soo.
I recommended that.
Jake has shown me a director named Hong Sang-soo, and I absolutely love his work. Tale of Cinema is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's
And
fantastic.
Jake even showed me Right Now, Wrong Then, which is
Mhm.
another great Korean film. But Hotel by the River really blew me away. It's kind of two different stories blended in one. You have two girls. One is really upset, really depressed with her life right now. And then you have another group of only men in the same hotel. A father with his two sons, and the father has kind of been alienated from his sons his whole life. He hasn't been too personal with them. I told Jake after the movie when I was talking about the movie, it's kind of like the Meyerowitz stories, but like
I haven't seen that one yet either.
Oh, okay. It's kind of like a Korean version of the Meyerowitz stories where
Yeah,
there's all
definitely.
these kind of intricate stories kind of blending together to create kind of a family drama. But there's something about Hong Sang-soo. He has a very relaxing,
Mhm.
meditative tone, very quiet. Music is used very scarcely. But in this movie, what I really appreciated was it was black and white and it was handheld camera work. It was kind of different than his other ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just really appreciate it. I felt like it was another movie, kind of like Banshees, when you feel part of this area. It's very lived in. And I feel like those movies where I could live in this world and kind of escape from it for a little bit, those are sometimes my favorite.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of his most devastating third acts, I would say too. Like that, the ending of that movie absolutely wrecked me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't familiar with Hong Sang-soo. He's a bit of a deep cut in terms of foreign directors, but he's a South Korean filmmaker. I often compare him to like, I don't know, what would you say, like Richard Linklater or you said Noah Baumbach, but like really humanistic portrayals of South Korean families and like young 20 somethings. But also like he has a very stylistic, distinct voice in cinema. Like I think a lot of his movies feel really static, but he utilizes zooms better than most modern day directors and portrayed landscapes. Like South Korea, he portrays it as such a peaceful, but also like a really inviting place. You know, we talked about Park Chan-wook and Bong Joon-ho. Like they more depicted as sort of like this kind of semi-apocalyptic wasteland in a way, which there's truth to that. But I love Hong Sang-soo's portrayal of South Korea. And Carlos, like if you want a recommendation, the film Right Now, Wrong Then by Hong Sang-soo is like a very beautiful, intricate story. Like the structure is unlike anything you've seen before. I'll semi-spoil it, but it's not really a spoiler. But basically, the movie happens within an hour. It's a love story about two people meeting in South Korea, and the movie restarts an hour in and does it again. And there's like very subtle differences. And basically, it's like a very observational human story. So, and I always recommend that to people that haven't heard of Hong Sang-soo. I think he's one of the most underrated modern day directors. So I'm glad you watched that, Brendan. I had to have my Hong Sang-soo rant at some point. So
yeah, we had to have it. We had to have it.
Yeah.
So you said the film is called Right Now, Wrong Then? Or
Right Now, Wrong Then. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. He makes about a movie a year. They usually play at Cannes. Like he's a very illustrious director. Like people hold him in high regard, but I think he makes some really interesting work. And yeah, man. Yeah, Hotel by the River is fantastic. So I'm glad you watched that. All right, so now we're going to be doing a little November celebration. You guys know it's Criterion season at Barnes & Noble. Movies are 50% off. So I thought like this might be a great time to sort of celebrate some Criterion films that not a lot of people have heard about, some more of the underrated hidden gems. And Carlos, I know I found your channel through my love of Criterion, and you recommended a lot of great films to me over the years. So this is an honor of you, my friend, because
oh shit. I'm very much honored. Thank you.
And yeah, man. So since this is an honor of you, why don't you kick it off? Like we're gonna each be sharing 4 films, by the way. So you guys will have 12 films in total to watch. And by the way, like I'm sure a lot of you guys out there will have seen these films at some point, and you're gonna be like, that's not underrated. I love that film. But
yeah.
To us, we're going with the ones that are more obscure and not like in the top, say, 100 most watched Criterion films. So yeah, Carlos, my friend, go ahead and kick it off for us.
All right. Well, thanks for giving me the honors, dude.
Hell yeah.
All right. So my number 4 most underrated Criterion film, which by the way, like all these are basically just films that I feel like don't really get talked about enough within the Criterion collection.
Yeah.
So number 4 is Secrets and Lies from Mike Lee. Hell yeah. Like, and I have to give a shout out to my friend Mike Cepeda from Boston.
Mike's the best.
Oh, you know Mike? Hell yeah. Dude.
Yeah, Mike and I DM a lot. Yeah, shout out to Mike.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mike recommended this film like way back, and he like swore it was such a great film. And he was right. This is a fantastic film. To me, this is a masterpiece. I have a review on this, so please check it out if you want to give like more in-depth thoughts. But I mean, a lot of people talk about Naked as like Mike Lee's like, magnum opus, like that's like his best film. Like I watched Naked. I think it's a good film, but like to me personally, it really doesn't have nearly as much of the impact as a film like Secrets and Lies does. This film is just feels like a roller coaster ride, honestly. It's like a subtle roller coaster ride, but the amount of emotions that you go through and the amount of like revelations you get throughout the experience, it really does take you for a ride. And it's just incredible. Like the writing from start to finish, it's very compelling. All the character dynamics are very compelling. Overall, like I just think this is like filmmaking at its finest, especially when it comes from the filmmaker Mike Lee in comparison to Naked, in my opinion. I'm not trying to dog on Naked, but just to me is like the film that people really should be talking about and should be really looking out for. Overall, just a really, really great film. So that's my number 4, Secrets and Lies from Mike Lee.
I second everything he said, and I couldn't be more happy to talk about Mike Lee today. Yeah, dude, I agree. I mean, Secrets and Lies, like you were saying about a roller coaster ride, like I love how Mike Lee, he kind of he constructs his dialogue and sort of the tension in his sequences to just build dramaturgy and tension so perfectly. And he's really become one of my favorite directors. And Secrets and Lies, Palme d'Or winner. I think Palme d'Or winner, right? It was up for a Palme d'Or, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know it got nominated for like an Oscar, like some Oscars actually, which is crazy.
Yeah, best screenplay. I don't remember, but a fantastic film. Little tease, I will be talking about Mike Lee shortly here, so that will not be the end of that. Brendan, you want to go next?
Oh yeah, sure. So I'm picking a movie I know Carlos really likes. It's Kanoa.
Oh, dude, I haven't seen that movie yet.
Oh, I thought you've seen it.
No, I blind bought it, but I still haven't seen it. Dude.
No wonder. I thought you said you saw it. Okay.
I think I saw you pick it up in a hall, and I was like, Carlos definitely likes that movie.
I blind bought it. I am super dying to see it, and now that's in your top 4. Now it's like that's it. I have to freaking watch it. You know what? I might blind rank it tonight in the voice chat. Why not?
Nice,
dude. Yeah, you have to watch it soon. It's such an interesting movie. I actually watched this because I watched a video about Alfonso Cuarón talking about some really powerful movies that has impacted him. And he said Kanoa was just one movie he saw that really made him fall in love with movies. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. Let me go check this out. What it is, it's kind of a nonfiction reworking told as kind of a fake documentary, disguised as a film, to talk about this really tragic incident that happened in Mexico. But I really love it because it deals with that small town community. They basically all believed in communists being really evil at that time. So any communists that came into their community, they immediately had to be persecuted, in some way. And it's just a very tragic but really amazing and well-told film. One of those movies that's so emotional and so dramatic along the way, but told so beautifully. And so, I mean, it's very unique that the director kind of has this first-person point of view perspective. A lot of the characters talk towards the camera. There's these weird parts with the community, like the priest talks to the camera. So it's overall just a very intricate nonfiction kind of reworking of that story. It's one of those that you just can't help but feel emotional after.
And I hear it gets like pretty brutal too.
It gets very brutal. And I don't want to spoil it, but yeah. But I love that you actually you fall in love with each of these characters and their passions, their desires. You don't, it doesn't get you right into the brutality or what's going on with the community. It really understands these characters and develops them.
Yeah, it's a film that like my dad's been talking about, like even before I knew like what Criterion was. Like he was telling me I have to watch this movie because my dad's Mexican, and he was like, "Yeah, I watched that film like when I was younger," and I was like, "All right." And then by the time when I saw it in the Criterion Collection, I was like, I didn't know it was part of the collection. That was that was a news to me. So I mean, this is a film that I've been desperately needing to watch. So.
It's kind of hard to find, at least by us. Like this is the first time I saw it randomly. It was the last one left, and I just had to grab it. But for the longest time, I couldn't find it for maybe like 2 years. So yeah, it is kind of hard to find. So
yeah, my bad. I thought Carlos had seen that movie, so I was kind of like, that'd be a great pick to bring up. You guys could sort of connect over that movie.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm still connecting over it because like that's giving me like definitely the push. Like I need to watch that movie. Right. Like it's been way overdue.
It has such an interesting style, Carlos. You're going to love it. Yeah,
it worked out. Then nice.
Yep.
Nice, man. All right. My first pick is a movie that from one of my favorite filmmakers, but doesn't get as much shine as his other work. But yeah, it's The American Friend by Wim Wenders.
I see that cover all the time.
Yeah, dude. I would push for you to blind buy this because of course, if you like Wim Wenders and his style, like obviously he's a very patient and subdued filmmaker and very human filmmaker, I would say. And this is like his take on sort of a pop noir movie, meaning there's a lot of cultural references in the movie, and there's a lot of modern songs, at least for the time when this came out in 1977. But the stars of this movie are Bruno Gaines and Dennis Hopper, and essentially Bruno Gaines is diagnosed with like a really terminal cancer, and Dennis Hopper essentially convinces him to become a hitman since he has no real life left in him, and to create a lot of money to sort of feed his family after he's gone. It's sort of like a weird precursor to Breaking Bad in the narrative sense. But I showed Brendan this movie, and after rewatching this movie, this is one of my favorite films of all time, and it is, I think, Wim Wenders' one of his most human stories, because he explores a lot of taboo subjects quietly. Like Paris, Texas is really a beautiful film, but really delves deep into like the psychology of marriage and sort of companionship with another human being. And this movie really delves deep into death and sort of that desperation that everyone has when they know that the clock is ticking. And this movie is just, I think it's just so incredibly well done and beautifully shot. Robbie Mueller, he's worked a lot with David Lynch. He shot Repo Man and a few other Wim Wenders, but this film looks incredible. Exceptionally heartbreaking film, but also a really cool neo-noir on top of that, and some really tense sequences. Just really has become like top 50 favorite films of all time for me. And Brendan, if you want to speak on it too, because I know I showed it to you and I'm glad you loved it as well. And yeah, Wim Wenders, obviously people know Paris, Texas and like Wings of Desire, but I think this film deserves to be talked about just as much as those. So
no, you're right. There's this incredible chase scene I remember in the movie.
Yeah.
Towards the end. But yeah, the way that Wim Wenders, shoots this kind of like moments of action or suspense, it's so interesting. It's stuff that you don't see often. So yeah, I highly recommend The American Friend.
Carlos, there's a scene on a train that feels straight out of like a Robert Bresson movie or something, where it's just all about the action. There's like no dialogue, and it takes place for like 20 minutes in the middle of the movie. And it's so it's so fucking jarring, but like it's such a cool tonal shift. And and Wim Wenders, like I said, like if you've seen Paris, Texas and his other movies, he's a very quiet filmmaker. And this is him kind of like ramping up to more like action suspense thriller type filmmaking. So I couldn't recommend this movie enough, guys. Like definitely check it out if you like Paris, Texas or like 70s noir. So that's my pick. Good pick.
I'll definitely keep that on my radar for sure, because I've seen the cover for that all the time, but I was always like, I don't know anything about it. So, but now that I know something about it and you put it up and, up in high regards, like I definitely want to check it out now.
Absolutely.
Is it my turn now?
Yeah, your turn.
All right, bro. So, number 3 most underrated Criterion film, we have Satyajit Ray's The Hero.
Yes.
Hell yeah, Brendan. So surprisingly, this is the only Satyajit Ray film that I've seen. And, I haven't seen the Apu trilogy or The Big City or anything like that yet. But this film is, to me, a bona fide masterpiece. This is a film that, again, like for the people that have seen it, they love it. But like this in general, it just pretty much never gets talked about. Like I never heard of this film until my friend Spaghetti in the Discord brought it up to me. But like I don't hear anybody ever talk about this movie, and it really deserves to be talked about more because like I just think this film is so compelling. It's such an interesting character study that dives into complex themes about the consequences of fame and also like the integrity of journalism that's embodied by the kind of the co-star of this film. And she's great in it. And like overall, this film is just like, not only is it very creative and artistic, but overall very well written and very well directed. I mean, there's scenes in this movie. There's dream sequences in this film that, I mean, it's almost baffling they came out during the time that it did. Wow. And just very modern looking and overall, I was just like completely blown away by this movie and surprised that nobody ever talks about because like if I had to compare it to another film, I guess it would be like 8.5. But to me, this I know some people probably say it's blasphemy, but to me, this is I prefer this film over 8.5. I just think like
Wow.
in terms of character, in terms of narrative, in terms of vision, I just feel like it's more compelling overall. So yeah, this is a film that like everybody needs to check out. It's really, really great film.
Yeah, I second that. What I love that about that movie is it's so ahead of its time. It's
Yes,
about
it is.
it's about self-reflection. How do you want to tell your own story, but also how do you want to have others perceive you, right?
Oh yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and I think it's such a interesting dichotomy in that movie, especially with, like you said, the journalism kind of character.
Mhm.
But yeah, I love the train kind of parts. They're kind of
Yeah.
talking on the train and those dream sequences. Yeah, it's really a marvelous movie. And
Yeah, it's a whole other thing. Like the entire movie basically takes place on a train,
yeah,
and it
and,
accomplishes so much just from that limited space.
and it's just basically him talking and flashbacks and
Mhm.
dream sequences, but it's so captivating and you can't help but feel stuck with the movie.
Absolutely. I'm glad you also shared the same love I do for that movie.
I
So
do.
good.
Yeah, it was going to be one of my picks.
Oh, was it
Wow.
really?
There you go.
Yeah.
I still
I'm
need to
happy
see
it's
it,
yours.
man. I still really want to see it because I've seen Panther Panchali, which is the first one in the Apu trilogy, which is honestly one of the most like revealing films of someone recounting their own childhood. Like that movie was really personal for Sachi Ray, so I'd love to see more of his work. And like he's got a lot of movies that are like held in high regard, like The Big City, like you mentioned,
Yep.
The Music Room. I know like Devi is on Criterion, and people always
Yep.
recommend that one. So definitely a director that
Yep.
I would love to delve more into, and obviously, I highly recommend the Pooh trilogy.
Yeah.
Too, so.
Charulata is another film I've heard is really good, right? That's what it's called, right? Charulata.
Charulata, yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I heard it's really good too. It's on Criterion. That's another film that's kind of had in my eye.
Yeah.
This is other Indian film that's on Criterion that nobody talks about that I've been really wanted to see. And it's called The Cloud Cat Star. And like
Oh, okay.
it looks like another film that I would absolutely love. So that's another film that's on my radar as well.
Nice. We're going all over the map today, boys. I like it.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Brendan, you're next. Yeah.
Yeah. My movie is definitely in my top 20 of all time.
Shit.
I am absolutely floored by this, and it's one of the funniest comedies ever made to me. This is the Palm Beach Story.
Mhm.
From
Fantastic movie.
from Preston Sturges.
I've never even heard of that.
Exact, and that's a good thing that we're highlighting. Good.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. This is one that was distributed in 2015, so it's very hard to find at Barnes and Noble now. I mean, I had to buy this from like a secondhand seller because of how hard it was to find. But it's such an amazing screwball comedy. Jake knows I have a fascination for that genre, and it's basically the plot of it is a husband and a wife. The wife decides, you know what, I can make more money being single and kind of being like a gold digger in the 40s, if we want to put it that way. It's very ahead of its time, this whole plot, too.
Very subversive for the time, yeah.
And the husband agrees. He's like, you go make your money because I'm broke right now. I can't afford to be married. And then they try to find love in another way. But throughout that love, they slowly find that maybe they might be right for each other. That's kind of the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a dual romance. There's the husband trying to find love, and there's the wife trying to find love, and it's so hilarious. And
That sounds really interesting. I like that.
I highly recommend it. Even my girlfriend, who doesn't watch a lot of films, she absolutely loved this movie. She was like, this was so funny, so captivating. She even said thank you, like thank you for showing me this. This is so happy. But it's a really lighthearted, ahead of its time romantic comedy. And I even told Jake it kind of influenced Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which I know is one of Jake's favorite movies.
I love that movie. It's a
And
good one.
you love it too, Carlos? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's great.
it's
I will.
it's very similar. Like, you know, it's kind of like the modern version of Palm
Yeah.
Beach Story.
Tropical vacation, really quick-witted dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, very quick-witted dialogue, interesting characters, kind of funny romance moments. But yeah, overall, check out Palm Beach Story if you can. It's very hard to find at Barnes and Noble, but
Unfortunately, yeah.
yeah, I love Preston Sturges too. Shout out Preston Sturges. I think he's such a funny, talented director. Sullivan's Travels and Lady Eve.
Lady Eve. Yeah.
Miracle on Morgan's Creek. So there's a lot of great movies that he's done, and he doesn't get enough love. You know, he really doesn't get enough love.
Yeah, I'll add to that too. Like, you showed me that film, and it's just hysterical, and like just the timing of his comedic chops, like the dialogue, how quick witted it is, and how every character's like firing back and forth at each other. It takes a lot of skill to direct actors like that, and it's really admirable. So, and if anyone's a comedy fan out there, like any comedy movie that you can think of is like really traced back to like Preston Sturges and like Frank Capra, obviously, Howard Hawks, but like Preston Sturges really is the master of like dialogue and, you know, human relationships and stuff like that. So yeah, Lady Eve is fantastic, of course, like you said. So yeah, shout out Sturges, man. He's the man.
Yeah, he's the guy.
Yeah.
What's your pick, Jake?
I mentioned Mike Lee before. I had to pick this. This is shout out to Mikey again. Me and Mikey really bonded over this movie because we both love it. Life is Sweet.
He loves that movie.
yeah. I messaged him initially because I saw him in one of your haul videos talk about how this is one of his favorite films. And I was like, I've never met anyone on earth that has said that sentence. So I had to message him after that. After I got into your Discord, of course. But yeah, man, this movie really, it's essentially a family portrait, like a lot of Mike Lee movies are. Basically, the father in this film he's a restaurant worker who buys this, as you can see on the cover, this sort of food trailer, this food truck, and is trying to mold a better life for his family. Like, they're in like the lower working class in Great Britain. And there's a mom who's very eccentric and very what would you say, exuberant, like overly exuberant. And then there's their two daughters. You know, one is very strong-headed and like headed in the right direction to make money and build a life for herself, while the other is like bulimic, and she never leaves her bed. She's depressed. And overall, this movie is just a very honest portrayal of family life. One of the most accurate portrayals of just how tough it is in real life to communicate with your family and really tell them what you want to say, and how tough that could be to like really admit your vulnerability to your parents and stuff like that. And Mike Lee, like you were talking about, Carlos, with Secrets and Lies, like he really is the master of really capturing really intimate, hard to watch moments in conversation and in dialogue. And the very end of this film, when naturally all of Mike Lee's films really progress to a point of like a boiling point of just everyone lashes out. And that's sort of his formula as a filmmaker. And I would contend this does it more effectively than any of his films, because this movie is so lighthearted. It is so funny. It is so honest, like I said. And all of the characters feel really lived in this film, like very true to life. And if you know anyone that deals with just severe depression and like anxiety, like it is captured so well in this film. And this movie was released in 1990, so I think it's way ahead of its time. And yeah, like I said about Mike Lee, I adore him, and this is, I think, his best film. So,
nice.
Yeah, man. Very passionate about that one, and all of his films. Really, I love him so much as a filmmaker. So,
yeah, that's definitely one I gotta watch soon, man. Like, it seems like a film that I would absolutely love.
I think you would too, man. And yeah, and the performances are stellar. And Brendan, I think you've seen part of this movie. I would like to. I hope you finish it.
I want to finish it with you. Yeah.
And real quick, I just want to mention, like, he has a film released a few years prior to this called Meantime, 1984, which has gotten a lot more shine because it got a Blu-ray release recently on the Criterion, or semi recently. And that movie's very similar to this one, just kind of with different archetypes for their characters. So I'd like early Mike Leigh is really special and really foundational stuff. So Carlos, you're up next. Yes.
All right, my turn. So my number 2 film on the top 4 most underrated criterions is Hapon, which is written and directed by Carlos Regadas. So yeah, this is the film that I actually did blind buy. Because I was in a period of time where I was like, okay, I want to get more familiar with Mexican filmmakers. So I just kind of looked up all the Mexican films that were on Criterion and just thought, okay, which ones do I feel like I would like more than others? And Hapon was like up there. And I mean, thankfully, I did love this movie a lot. And it's only number 2, not because I like this more than The Hero or Secrets and Lies, but because I really feel like nobody ever talks about this movie, like comparison to in comparison to the other ones. Like this is such a, it's really interesting because this combines like a surrealist type of approach to filmmaking combined with a very authentic and documentative kind of style to filmmaking, because a lot about the film in terms of the landscape and the people, all that feels very like genuine and real. But especially in certain segments and especially with certain events that occur in the film, a lot of that feels very like nightmarish and otherworldly, just in terms of like the aesthetic presentation. So yeah, this is not going to be a film for everybody for sure. Like this is kind of one of those films that is going to be divisive by its nature, but overall, I think it serves as one of the better discussion pieces that Criterion has to offer, because this was a film that we talked about in the Discord, and to me, this is like at least top 3 discussions I ever had at the Discord. It went on for a very long time, and we went on like all day about this movie. Even for people that like weren't that huge on it, like they still had a lot to say about it. So, yeah, I mean, this film, bear in mind, it really goes there. There's a lot of bizarre kind of content in this movie. It doesn't hold back. So just kind of prepare for that when you go into it. But overall, like I think this is a film that is definitely worth watching, worth discussing, and it really kind of stays with you for a long time. So I've also seen his other film. One of his more recent films came out like in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, like 11 or something like that, called Post Tenebra Lux. That film is also really good in my opinion. I really dug that one as well. But yeah, hop on if y'all haven't seen it. This is one I definitely recommend checking out.
I second that too, because I also blind bought it because I had so many mixed things, and yeah, and like just the aspect ratio of that film is super interesting to me, and I think there's a lot of purpose to it. I'm sure you'd agree. And like you said, there's a lot of very out there content in the movie. Yeah. I even have a funny review involving horses about that movie.
Oh yeah. I know what scene you're talking about.
Right, yeah. And I watched that with my good friend Antonio, and we watched that movie together. And we were after the final shot, we both just looked at each other and we're like, that felt like kind of like a transcendent film experience. So,
yeah, it's an experience for sure. Yeah,
absolutely. So I second that, you guys. That's definitely worth a blind buy, or at least a watch if you have the Criterion channel. It's worth a watch. So
yep.
Brendan, sir, what do you got?
Yeah, I kind of have a little bit of a random one here. This is Judex by George Franju,
director of Eyes Without a Face, right?
Correct. Yeah, Eyes Without a Face.
I did not know that. That's awesome.
He's pulling the deep cuts today.
I'm pulling some deep ones today. But I love Eyes Without a Face, so I thought, you know what, I gotta check out this movie Judex. It's very hard to find. First off, it's distributed in 2014. I think honestly I just randomly found it somewhere, and luckily I was able to pick it up. But it's such an interesting kind of movie. There's the inside even.
Nice.
It has like one of the heaviest booklets. Like, look at this.
Holy shit.
Like, I just want to comment on that. It's one of the heaviest criterions just by weight.
Little weighty criterion there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But what I love about the movie is it blends the silent era of, 20s filmmaking with that 60s or 70s noir kind of serial feel to it. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like any of those serial kind of films from the 50s or 60s.
I don't think so. Serial as in like serial killer, or serial as in like Frosted Flakes? I'm just kidding.
No. Good one.
Both.
But both, yeah. A serial killer.
Yeah.
But no, but these but this film kind of blends both of them and tells this very interesting noir kind of story about, masquerade and kind of crime in France. It's very interesting. And it's one of those I told Jake, I mean, after watching it, I was like, that was one of the most unique movies I've ever seen. It constantly tells a story with no dialogue, and then randomly will have a ton of dialogue. And some people might call it a mess, and I could see it being a very divisive movie. But for me, I just totally fell in love with it. And I told Jake, I can't get it out of my memory. Weirdly, it's one of those movies that has stuck with me. It might not be one of my favorites of all time, but it really has stuck with me in that weird way. The visuals of it, and how intricate the story is. I really would recommend Judex to anyone that loves Eyes Without a Face.
Yeah.
And I also want to second also that this director, George Franju, also did a movie called Blood of the Beasts. And I told Jake earlier today, I said, that's one of the most disturbing movies I've ever seen. So it's weird, his blend of filmmaking, and he always tries something new. And I actually want to see what he does. I need to continue out with his filmography. But yeah, recommendation, Judex. Pick it up if you like those kind of silent crime films that have a really strange structure to it all. It's very, very, very interesting. There's a killer that's the killer up there with the bird mask.
The bird's the killer. The bird's the killer.
Yeah, the bird man is kind of like the killer, the magician. There's some magic in it. It's very, very, very interesting movie. You won't see anything like it. Yeah. Exactly up my alley.
Yeah, man. I mean, judging from the merits of Eyes Without a Face, I think that's one of the great horror films of all time.
Yeah.
No joke. Like, so I'm dying to watch that now. So
yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. You already hooked me with the whole eyes without a face thing. I was like, you got me already. Yeah.
Good.
Just come to me on the street and say Eyes Without a Face. I'll follow you anywhere.
Yeah.
that's all you need.
There you go.
All right, cool, man. My number 2, probably, I don't think anyone is gonna have heard of this film, but that's what we're here for, right? So this film is called Sundays and Cybele. It is a French film, and I mentioned before, I don't know if we had recorded or not, but I had mentioned that Gaspar Noé picked this movie up in the closet video, and that's what immediately piqued my curiosity, because he had said that Harmony Korine had said this was his favorite French movie of all time. And this movie was not streamable anywhere, so I was like, fuck it, I'll blind buy it. And this movie is devastatingly beautiful. It is it's a post-World War II film, basically about a French soldier who gets wounded in the war. He becomes handicapped and essentially homeless. And he meets a young orphan girl, and basically strikes up a friendship with her. And basically the film just highlights these two people just try to survive together post World War II. And something about me is I love movies that depict war kind of on the peripheries of war, like outside of it. Like we mentioned Banshees, like that movie is about people that are really close to a war. And this movie is about people that have been affected by the war, kind of like the underseen people and after post World War II. And this movie is really neurotic. It's very, like you were saying about Hapone, Carlos, it's a little out there in its content. It's a French New Wave film, so obviously there's a few unsavory themes to this movie, but it is exceptionally moving. There's hints of Tarkovsky in here at times, and like I said, like I love really daring war movies that really tell the unsung hero story outside of the soldiers or people on the front lines. Which, come and see. Obviously I love that film, but this movie just blew me away and was one of my favorite blind buys I think I ever had. And unfortunately, I think this movie's out of print now. If you want a physical copy, but if you want to, yeah, I know. So this might be worth a pretty penny or two. So, I personally really love coming of age stories and really unique dynamics between like an older guy and a younger girl. Really like kind of neurotic relationship. So yeah, man, this is definitely the most obscure pick in my whole list. So I think I had to throw it in there, and I think it's a fantastic film. Very French, so know that going in.
Well, yeah. I can't promise that I'll blind buy, considering that it's out of print, but I will definitely try to seek it out in some way and watch it because
Hey, man, that's something,
Yeah, man. I mean, the way you described it definitely makes me want to watch it, man. It sounds very interesting and unique.
Yeah. There's sequences in this movie that really remind me of Ivan's childhood. I don't know if you guys have seen that from Tarkovsky.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah, it's sort of like the child's perspective of World War II, which I think is super interesting, especially because this released in 1962, so this wasn't too far off from the landscapes of post World War II, like in Eastern Europe. So yeah, guys, if you somehow you could find that film, I don't know where you can, maybe eBay or something, but highest of recommendations from me. So
nice, hell yeah, dude.
Yes, sir.
My turn, right?
Your turn.
Yeah.
Final movie.
Yeah.
Last one.
All right. So my number one most underrated Criterion film in the collection is The Kid with the Bike. So this is a film that is, I think the reason why I picked this as my number one is because it's a fairly new movie, like in comparison to everything else that I've said. Like it came out in 2011.
Yeah.
And like you would just kind of think that like newer movies like this that have such great quality to them will get discussed more. But I mean, this film never gets discussed in my opinion. Like I hardly ever hear anybody talk about this movie. And to me, that's a damn travesty because this film from start to finish is riveting. Like it's very energetic. So like if you're somebody that doesn't like, if you don't have the patience for slow paced movies, look no further because this film is to me very fast paced. It's a short movie and it's compelling. It's emotionally heartbreaking. It's also heartwarming in different ways. But I mean, in a nutshell, it's basically just about, a young kid who is desperately seeking a relationship with his father and, has to deal with this kind of like identity crisis that no young boy should really have to deal with. And it's in certain ways, it's very raw. It's unforgiving. But it's also in certain ways uplifting. It has a lot of important messages to send about young adulthood, coming of age kind of story as well. This film to me, like in its runtime, it delivers so much. It's just to me from start to finish, very engaging, very impactful. The child performance from this young man is incredible. He is really great in this film. I mean, he has to convey a pretty big range of emotions. Most of them very like, most of it is, a lot of like frustration and anger, but there's a few scenes in this film where he has to really convey like, more heartbreaking emotions. And it really gets to me. To me, like this film is a film that like, it always kind of like brings me on the verge of tears. Just incredible stuff all around. I really wish people would talk about this film more, especially considering that it's not even that old of a movie, really, like in comparison to a lot of other films in the Criterion Collection. So I don't know how many of you out there have ever heard of this movie, but I mean, take this like as for, take it from me to be like one of the most utmost recommendations in the Criterion Collection, because I never hear anybody talk about this film, especially in reference to the Criterion Collection. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's all I'll say about it. But really, really incredible film in my opinion. Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? Let me go and shout out Perry because Perry was like really like pushing this film on me for so long. And obviously I kind of slept on it for a while, as I think everybody does with this movie, apparently. And eventually I was like, you know what? I got some time. I'll watch it. And I was like, yo, Perry, thank you so much for recommending this movie. It's really, really great. So yeah, shout out to Perry for that.
Shout out to Perry. Yeah, real quick, I'll just say the Dardenne brothers. I haven't seen that film, unfortunately, but they have a film from 2014, which is also on Criterion called 2 Days, One Night with Marion Cotillard, which is, I think, an absolutely incredible movie. And they are such humanist filmmakers. Like, you could tell I really love movies like that. So I'm dying to see that now. I've been wanting to watch it for so long, but I'm ashamed that I haven't seen it yet. But
oh man,
I will
can't wait to hear your thoughts on it.
I will
man.
do it. I will message you my thoughts on that one. And love the Dardennes. They have a new movie coming out this year as well. So
shit. See, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they're
awesome.
they're so underrated, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great pick. Brendan, what's your numero uno?
Yeah, my last one. Good pick, Carlos. So I do have to see that one. The kid with the
thank
bike.
you. Yeah.
But my last one is, we all know Charlie Chaplin from Modern Times, right? And a lot of his other silent work. But I think the one movie that a lot of people tend to forget is Limelight. I know there's a lot of love for this movie. It's not underrated critically, or it's not really divisive. But what I think is so interesting about this movie is that Charlie Chaplin really made a movie about himself, right? I like when an artist kind of reflects on their life and thinks back on themselves. And I think this is a movie that Charlie Chaplin really accomplished that. And to me, it's so far my favorite movie that I've seen of his.
Damn.
But there's a lot of interesting things going on. I mean, Buster Keaton has a cameo.
Oh, really?
I mean,
wow.
Yeah. Buster Keaton has a cameo. It's much more of a mellow, dramatic movie than it is a comedy, but it has comedy kind of spruced, kind of sprinkled in there. But I just find it so emotionally investigating just to see an artist basically go down this path of, he was an alcoholic, he was a failed, silent star. And how do you bring yourself back up to that platform that you once were, that's kind of what the movie is. It's a little long. It's 2.5 hours almost, but it does so much in that runtime to make you care for him. And, it's really a movie about art and a movie about filmmaking, just kind of disguised as a movie, which
right.
I kind of like a lot.
I like that.
It's something that I easily, kind of grasp onto.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone check out Limelight. I don't know how easily available it is, but I think a lot of the times we think of Charlie Chaplin as this like comedy, kind of like stumbly, kind of silent film, actor. But here he really turns in one of the greatest performances. And I mean, just the directing he does here is phenomenal. And I think it's one of my favorite endings of all time. I'd even say like in the top 20 favorite endings. I think the way that movie ends is just so great. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but really check out Limelight by Charlie Chaplin.
Nice.
So I have to admit a very embarrassing cinema sin. I have not seen a Charlie Chaplin film from start to finish. And it's not because I don't want to. I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah. I'm still missing some of the big ones, like The Great Dictator and all that. But
yeah, I was going to say I have seen the magnificent speech that he gives in The Great Dictator.
Same.
Because of like when I was in film school, they played it. So I do know how great that scene is. But like, and the grand scheme of things, I haven't seen a Charlie Chaplin film from start to finish.
You know what? I'll recommend
blame you.
I'll recommend one right now for people that want to get into Chaplin. There's a movie he made called The Kid, released. It was really early in 1921, but that movie's only an hour long, and it's basically about him and a kid team up to like pickpocket people. And it's so funny and it's so joyous, but it's like it's a perfect like entry point, I think, to his comedy. And like what Brendan was saying, like he usually inserts a lot of really personal aspects about his life in all of his movies. So I'm a huge fan of him, and obviously Modern Times is fantastic. And I also need to see Limelight, so that's one for all of us to check out, I guess. So
Absolutely. It's a
yeah,
great pick.
yeah. All right, guys. So my number one pick for the most underrated Criterion is a little bit cheating because I picked an Eclipse series. It's three films in one, but this has become one of my favorite directors of all time, and this is the works of Aki Kaurismäki, who is a Finland filmmaker. And look, this is a very deep cut, so it's hard for me really to sell you guys in this short amount of time. But this trilogy right here is such a wonderful entry point to this man's work. I've recommended a few of his movies to Brendan, and we've actually watched a few together. To describe his style, like I would say it's in the vein of like Jim Jarmusch. Like it's a very it depicts really kind of hipstery sides to urban settings and stuff like that, and has really whimsical characters, and really depicts life in its truest form, in my opinion. And these three films I discovered during the quarantine, like the first leg of the quarantine, and the reason I picked this set is because these movies really got me through those first few months, because these movies are ultimately about people who live in these really unforeseen circumstances and how they cope and how they sort of rationalize their lives in sort of these more than unideal circumstances of living in poverty oftentimes. By the way, the three films in here are called Shadows of Paradise, Ariel, and The Match Factory Girl, all under 70 minutes long. They're really short, but I think a very influential filmmaker, not only in Jim Jarmusch, but I've heard Steve Buscemi talk about him influencing his writing style and his acting style. And if you like that really minimalistic, sort of dry comedic sensibility that Jim Jarmusch brings to you, this is the man who I think birthed that style. I think he really influenced a lot of contemporary American filmmakers. And this is like not his most well-renowned works right here. They are all fantastic, but Brendan, if you want to chime in, I know The Other Side of Hope is a fantastic movie. Le Harvey, he's just such a, like you were talking about, really relaxing, but also really insightful filmmaker, and makes really human stories. And yeah, again, this is an Eclipse series. I don't know if you guys could find this out in Barnes and Noble. I bought this on Amazon for like $30, but I just love him to death, and I love his filmmaking style. So yeah, Aki Kaurismäki and it's kind of a mouthful. So
Aki Kaurismäki, nice.
Aki Kaurismäki. Look him up after this. Get into his movies. I just want to promote him. I think he's great.
Yeah, I've never heard of him, so I think it's a good pick just on that front.
He's a very interesting director. He kind of fits in that Bergman, Hong Sang-soo kind of format, where that static kind of dialogue where you kind of hear, it's kind of like a little bit of like ASMR, right? You have the background, very monotone, very quiet, and then you kind of have these nice dialogue sequences. They might be about something intense or personal to someone, but they're very quiet. They're not really high tension or loud or in your face. And I really love the tone of Aki Kaurismäki, and I would recommend The Other Side of Hope. I think that's such a phenomenal movie about immigration, and it says a lot about culture too. But
he's still making films to this day. That's why I want to advocate for him, so he can make more movies. And yeah, like you said, the reason I compared him to Jarmusch is because he takes really seemingly insignificant moments and kind of shines a spotlight on like really vulnerable human moments, and sort of the everyday human interactions that we don't usually consider as much as we should. And I think that's always brilliant filmmaking, when people can capture these moments and make you rethink the sort of profoundness of them. So and that's what Kaurismäki and Jarmusch and obviously other filmmakers come to mind, but he's just so underrated, man. And the movies he's making are still quality, still great. So I hope all you guys look up Kaurismäki after this, and
I will, for sure, man.
Yeah, man. I can send you guys all recs. Just message me. I love him. All right, guys. Yeah, that's our top 12 Criterion recs for underappreciated, sort of unsung heroes in the collection. there's 1,000+ movies in there, guys, now. So it's like it's getting a bit crowded to, and I think a lot of movies that were released, say like 3 or 5 years ago, sort of get lost in the shuffle, unfortunately. So the aim for this video was like to shine a little spotlight on those. So
Yeah, and clearly these are our only movies that like I know about. Clearly.
Right.
I'm pretty sure like once I see a lot more, like this list would change like drastically, obviously.
We'll say in two
Definitely.
to 3 years, we'll do an update video, and we'll probably update just insanely more unique films than this, because you can go deep. Like we were picking up movies today as we were in Barnes and Noble. Like I've never even heard of this or the filmmaker involved, and it's pretty great. So, do you guys want to do the game now? Do you want to take a break beforehand, or do you want to just dive head deep in my Criterion game?
I mean, I'm ready for the game.
I'm ready for the game. Let's do it.
You got time, right, Carlos? This will probably take like 15. It'll be fast.
Yeah, I'm down.
Fast. Cool. All right, guys. So last week with me and my friend Cole Bradley, we did a horror game where basically I gave him a few hints and he had to guess the film. And I'm just going to obviously reiterate the rules because these guys don't know. But the aim of this game is to guess the movie, and these are all films in the Criterion Collection. So we got 4 hints total. The first hint, we got the year, the genre, and the country of the film. The second hint is director-based. The third hint is actor hint. The fourth is a Criterion-specific hint. So what we're going to do, right at the top, I will give you the first hint, which is year, genre, and country. And if you guys don't get it, I'll give you the second hint. If you don't get that, the third, fourth. Does that make sense? So like, each round you'll guess the film, and if you don't get it, I'll just keep giving you hints. So
during each round, like if we want to, how do we like tap in, or do you want me to just like?
I would say
I got the answer, or
I would say you both give an answer each round, okay? And whoever gets it first, like I'll read the hint, and I'll just ask you guys. And if one of you gets it, then it's over.
Okay, gotcha.
So you guys each get a shot for this, all right?
All right.
Alrighty. So the first film we got was released in 1966. It is a drama, and it is from the country of Sweden.
Persona.
Fuck.
Is that really it?
That's the movie. Fuck.
Damn.
I know my Burke.
Damn.
He's my guy.
Oh fuck.
Shit.
Sorry, was I supposed to do that, or was I supposed to?
No, you got it. You got
okay.
it. Yeah, if you know the answer, you get it. Shit, man. All right.
That's crazy.
Honestly, that was the easiest one. I think these might be a little tougher as we go.
Let's see.
All right. So number 2, this film was released in 2004. It is a comedy from the United States. Also, if you don't have a guess, you can say pass, because if you get more hints, it'll be easy for you.
Pass.
I'll say pass.
All right. The director of this film has had a very consistent and illustrious career, and he was even named the next Martin Scorsese by Scorsese himself.
What?
That is a director hint.
A comedy.
2004
An
comedy.
comedy.
Scorsese loves this guy. Yeah.
I have no idea.
Brendan, any shot?
I think I'll pass again. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, they get harder, man. This is actor hint here. The lead actor of this film has worked with this specific director of this film many times, but he's also worked with directors like Jim Jarmusch, Harold Ramis, and Ruben Fleischer. The lead actor, he's worked with this director many times, but also those directors.
Okay, I guess I'll take a guess.
Yeah.
I don't even know if this is a comedy, but is it Election?
No. Good guess, though.
Is it Broken Flowers by Jim Jarmusch?
Oh, man. You're on the right track.
Shit.
You're right. You're really close. Okay, last hint. Criterion hint. The spy number 300, and the Criterion comes with an audio commentary by the filmmaker and co-writer Noah Baumbach.
Oh, I got it. The Squid and the Whale?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh.
So close, dude. You got it?
Is it Kicking and Screaming?
No. Co-writer. He's not the director. It's the co-writer.
I don't know then.
Right, did you know? You got okay, I'll tell you, you got the lead actor right. It is a Bill Murray movie.
Huh.
2004 comedy, co-writer Noah Baumbach starring Bill Murray. I'll give a bonus hint, Carlos. I know you love this movie. You love this movie. I know you.
I love that. Life Aquatic.
Yep.
Oh,
yes.
Life Aquatic. Oh, that's a good. Wow.
Damn, maybe my hints were just bad, but
no, it's good.
For some reason, I didn't think Wes Anderson when it comes to comedy. Yeah, I don't know.
The genre thing's tough because I don't want to say like drama, comedy, adventure. Yeah, I'm trying to be broad with it. So
yeah, because like that movie makes me cry, so I didn't think like comedy.
No, it's way more than that. Yeah. All right.
Damn, I'm embarrassed.
No, you got that one though. You guys are tied up. All right. Okay, so first into the next movie. So this is 2003. This is a drama thriller from South Korea.
Is it Memories of Murder?
Yep.
I was thinking that one too, yeah.
God, dude, every other one is so obvious. Oh man. 2-1. All right. Next movie. This is a 1997 drama from Iran.
From what?
Iran. Sorry.
Is it Taste of Cherry?
Yep. Fuck, I want to get to my other hints.
I knew it was Kiarostami, but I was like trying to piece together which films came out when, and I was like, fuck.
Alrighty. Okay. Next movie. This might be a little tougher. 1986 drama from the United States. 1986.
Broadcast News?
No, sir.
I'm looking at my Criterion shelf right now. Drama from the United States.
Don't focus on the genre. Honestly, that's bullshit.
Okay.
Just think 1986 movie from the United States.
I'll pass.
All right. Okay, so our first director hint here. The director of this film has very long gaps between his films, mostly because of his arduous process to prep, but also his unique surreal style.
Oh. Is it David Lynch?
What's the movie?
Oh, Blue Velvet?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did that for you.
Thank you.
So it's 3-2 now?
Yeah, 3-2.
All right, boys, we got to speed around here. This is basically guess the tagline. These are all Criterion films. I'm going to read the tagline. This might be a little tougher because I feel like a lot of movies can come to mind. But
yeah,
if you need hints, if this takes a while, I'll give you a hint pretty rapidly. But so guess the movie based on basically like on Letterboxd. If you know, there's like the tagline above the description. That's where I got these from. So, Alrighty. So the first film we got here, the tagline is "The Final Vision of a Controversial Filmmaker." The final vision of a controversial filmmaker.
Oh. Wait, the final vision in what regard?
Like his last movie?
His final movie. It's the final vision of a controversial filmmaker. His final movie.
Night of the Hunter? I don't know.
His only movie.
I know, his only movie. I thought maybe.
Not a bad guess. Not a bad guess. I'm trying to think of a hint I can give you guys.
I was thinking Lars von Trier, but
you're on the right track. You're on the right track. Okay, this is a 70s movie from Italy. Controversy.
Oh, Salo.
Yeah.
Salo. Oh, yeah.
Salo, yeah.
I had to throw that in there.
Yeah.
All right.
We saw that in the theater.
We saw that on the big screen.
What?
It was
They
Yeah.
played that near y'all?
In LA, yeah.
Oh,
only
in
in
LA.
only in
Forgot.
LA,
Yeah.
dude.
That's crazy.
It was a great time though. We loved it.
Wild.
Next movie. I feel like you guys are gonna get this one right away. So fight for the answer.
Okay.
Beautiful women were the victims of his fiendish facials.
Eyes Without a Face.
Yep. Hell yeah.
It was-
Shout out
it was-
to George Franju.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I knew you guys were both gonna get that one quick. All right, third one for taglines. Wow. Okay. This one is it's 4 a.m. Do you know where your car is?
Used cars.
That's not a criterion,
I
bro.
don't think it's a criteria.
Dude, where's my car?
I can't believe this.
Repo Man.
Yep. It's Repo Man.
Oh,
Okay,
shit. Yeah.
All right, final two. I haven't been keeping score, by the way.
It's
so
tied up.
It's tied up. Okay, we're final two questions here. Number 4. What happens when make believe believes it's real? To say it again, what happens when make believe believes it's real? Do you know? You're just looking.
Is this Princess Bride?
No, but you're kind of on the right track.
Oh, Pan's Labyrinth.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that was my
shit.
second. Oh no.
It all comes down to this. I might have to pull a tiebreaker out. Shit.
Let's see.
All right. This is for all the marbles, guys. Probably. Okay, final tagline. A place for dreams, a place for heartbreak, a place to pick up the pieces.
Place for dreams, a place for heartbreak, a place to pick up the pieces.
You got it.
Nicole Kidman in the AMC intro.
Criterion release when? No.
Another hint, maybe? I don't think
Another hint. Shit, man.
It's too vague.
Shit.
Maybe a year date.
1 second here. So this was released 1984. This was released. The hint is really hinting at it's a location-based movie. The title of the film is very location-based.
It's location based.
Yeah. It's hard to give hints to this one. It's so
1984.
obvious.
Huh.
Think of a location-based Criterion film.
What, Paris, Texas?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow.
That's it. So Carlos wins that.
Yeah, Carlos
Hey.
wins 6
Oh,
to
shit.
4. Close
Damn.
one. Good
That was
game.
tight.
Hey, good game. Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah,
glad
man.
you guys got the. I'm glad you got the Blue Velvet one.
I know.
That was
As soon
designed.
as you said like the hint where you said, okay, Gaps, surrealist filmmaker, I was immediately like, okay, David Lynch. But then I didn't even think of the movie, like what movie. I was like, okay, I think Blue Velvet's 80, so Blue Velvet.
I thought you guys would confuse that with Terrence Malick. That's what I was. I
Mm.
was trying to confuse the directors there. All right, guys, that's our episode, man. I hope you guys
Oh,
enjoyed our
that was so
recommendations.
much fun.
Yeah,
That was fun.
I'm glad you guys like
I
the
had a
games.
blast.
I'm glad you guys like the games and all that. I think we'll continue that. But Carlos, do you want to plug anything? I know you got some stuff cooking on your channel, the Criterion Halls and whatnot.
I mean, throughout the month we'll do. I mean, I'm going to be doing like at least 2 or 3 more hauls. I still got the horror film festival up, and it's only going to be up for one more day until I take it down because I want to give some of the filmmakers a shot to get into certain film festivals. Check out my short film Solita when you can. That's also only going to be up for maybe another 2 weeks or so. I got a review for Banshees of Inisherin coming up hopefully tomorrow. And I mean, honestly, I think that's really about it, really. I think so.
Cool, man. Thank
Yeah.
you again for coming on. I always appreciate it. Brendan, what do you want to plug, man? You want to plug Preston Sturges, any directors you love? I know you're not on YouTube, but
Not on YouTube, but I hope to be on more of these podcasts. And,
hell yeah, of course.
I guess I'll plug in my I'll plug in my Discord.
Yeah.
$5 a month through Patreon, and you get access to the Discord, and it is a blast. I'm actually going to hop on Discord right now. We're going to discuss the film Bug and the film Afterlife. So
Nice.
that's going to be fun. We do them every Saturday nights, every Friday night. We also have a movie night, and sometimes throughout the week, depending just how the members feel, we'll just have like a random like movie night based on what gets voted for the most. So it's a real fun time. I mean, it's pretty edgy Discord, but it's all in good fun. So
Yeah, guys, definitely subscribe to the Discord and sign up. I was a member in the past. I had a good time. But yeah, thank you guys for listening again. I really appreciate the positive feedback. Obviously, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. We're really trying to grow our YouTube channel since we're new on here. We've been on Apple Podcasts for years, but thank you for Carlos for that boost.
oh yeah, man.
Always appreciate that.
Thank you.
And yeah, guys, if you have any Criterion recommendations, I'll always appreciate those. And any blind buys that you want to throw our way, we'd appreciate it. And hope you have a great holiday, guys. Take care.